Welcome to the Center for Security Policy. I'm Fred Fleitz. You may remember a contentious debate last year on the nuclear deal with Iran, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, as to whether this agreement is a treaty, whether it is binding on the United States, and who signed this agreement. What you may not know is that the Obama administration quietly gave answers to these questions, and frankly, their answers will surprise you. More on that in a moment. So is this agreement a treaty? Well, opponents of the agreement mostly believe it is. The problem is they disagree on whether the president is compelled to submit it as a treaty to the Senate for ratification. If an agreement like this is submitted as a treaty, the Senate would ratify it with a 2/3 vote. Experts such as Andrew McCarthy, the former assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, has argued persuasively that this is a treaty and the Constitution requires the president to submit it as a treaty. Other experts, such as Ambassador John Bolton, believes it's a treaty, but he also believes that it has been the prerogative of the president to decide which agreements qualify as treaties and which are executive agreements. So what's the difference between a treaty and an executive agreement? Well, a treaty is binding. It's the law of the land. It's binding both on the administration that negotiated it as well on future presidents. This is not the case for an executive agreement, which can be thrown out by the next president with just the stroke of a pen. Treaties have more legitimacy than an executive agreement because they are binding law. So why didn't the Obama administration submit the Iran deal as a treaty to the Senate? Well, the reason is clear. There was no chance it would get the 2/3 support it needed in the Senate to be ratified. Now, there was a vote taken in the Senate on this agreement under something called the Corker-Cardin Act, formerly known as the Iran Nuclear Agreement Review Act of 2015. When the administration refused to send the Iran deal as a treaty, this bill was passed, which gave Congress an opportunity to vote on the agreement. Well, this goes against the language of the U.S. Constitution on how to ratify treaties. 2/3 of the Senate has to vote in favor. Under Corker-Cardin, there had to be a veto-proof majority in both houses of Congress and a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate. The House did not vote on the Iran deal under Corker-Cardin because many Republicans felt that the Obama administration did not meet a requirement of Corker-Cardin to provide all documents related to the nuclear deal for congressional review. Specifically, they were concerned that the Obama administration withheld crucial documents on a secret side deal between Iran and the IAEA. Because of this disagreement, the House took other votes against the nuclear deal. The Senate did vote on the nuclear deal under Corker-Cardin. 56 senators voted to disapprove the deal. 42 voted to support it. Well, this fell short of the 60 votes necessary to overcome a filibuster, so the deal survived congressional review. But with 56 senators voting against it and 42 voting for it, you can see how unpopular this agreement was in Congress and how it fell far short of the 67 votes in favor that would have been required to ratify this agreement as a treaty. So that still leaves the outstanding questions: is this agreement a treaty? Should it be treated as one? Is it binding on the United States and Iran? And who signed it? These questions were still outstanding even after the congressional vote. Well, Congressman Mike Pompeo sent a letter to the administration asking it for answers on these questions, and the response he received from the State Department were rather astounding. According to the State Department, that this is an unsigned agreement. It was not signed by any party. It is non-binding, and it is neither a treaty or an executive agreement. They called it a political commitment. Now, I've been in government a long time. I've never heard of an unsigned, non-binding political commitment. But that's the way the administration portrayed this. And the fact that the administration said that it's not binding was sort of extraordinary, given that it has portrayed this as such an important agreement that is going to resolve the threat from the Iranian nuclear program, and is supposed to last from 10 to 15 years. So we're saying it's not binding either on the United States or Iran, and no official from either government signed it. It's just astonishing. So what does all this mean? Well, the next president has to decide what to do with this agreement, and I think that looking at Iran's record so far and real concerns about Iranian behavior, it's going to be very hard for the next president not to abrogate this agreement. And as you know, if you've been watching my videos, I'm calling for all of the Republican candidates to pledge to tear up this agreement on his or her first day in office. And I think the fact that the administration has admitted that this is not a treaty and it is not binding on the United States, that will be very easy to do. I'm Fleitz. Thank you for watching.